What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm just seeing if that's going to hit right then. Does it hit right immediately? Yes, no. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. A lot of news this week. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to get as many videos in as I would like, but I will hopefully be returning to my regularly scheduled schedule starting next week. I want to talk today about Nancy Pelosi. She made a statement yesterday that there shouldn't be any debates, and I'm just really kind of confused as to what's going on, because when I covered yesterday Don Lemon stating that, you know, the race seems like it's really tightening and they must have internal numbers that suggest that Biden's lead is slipping. But I think there may be something more going on here. So I want to start with this video, then we're going to get into some documentation that was filed by President Trump early August. And then we're going to take a look back at the polls to see if we can find out exactly what's going on here. So let's take a look at this clip. Nancy Pelosi, she is doing a press conference yesterday. Give me 1 second. There she is. And I know that you guys dislike every video when I put Nancy Pelosi up there. I'm sorry. She's working. All right. Let me give you a little bigger screen. And you're on.
I wouldn't legitimize a conversation with him, nor a debate in terms of the presidency of the United States. Now, I know that the Biden campaign thinks in a different way about this, but I thought what he did in the 2016 was disgraceful, stalking Hillary Clinton like that. I was disappointed that the press didn't say, go back to your station. You're not here, you don't own this stage. You have your own podium, she has hers.
I'm sorry, I just have to interrupt on that, because I don't even understand why she brought that up as even a thing to say, because obviously, if you guys have watched any kind of press conference, like on a wide shot lately, you'll see that when people are being interviewed, they're holding like a 20-foot pole out between each person. I mean, when you see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris together, they're like 10 feet apart, and then the interviewer's 10 feet that way. So there's not really going to be a scenario where Donald Trump or anybody would be able to hover over their opponent in a debate stage in 2020. So this is just super weird why she would even bring that up. Again, she's trying to go back to Trump's character, but it really makes you wonder, like, what is your point? Or you don't really have a point. You really just don't want there to be any debates. Now, obviously, the questions about Joe Biden's mental capacities have been coming up this entire campaign. And, you know, even the other day when he accepted his nomination, everyone's on pins and needles wondering if he can actually make it through his entire nomination speech. So obviously, if you have to go back and forth with Donald Trump for 2 hours, you know, with no other contestants on stage, it could get rough. But between defending Biden's actual record, where Donald Trump is currently kind of reframing his entire campaign now, he's going back to the message of, you know, the swamp and Washington corruption, and it's probably going to be, I've been obstructed by the Democrats in many ways, and because of their policies, because of leftist ideas, because they are part of the establishment that I came in to kind of combat. That leaves Joe Biden to a situation where he's kind of vulnerable. You know, he's been in politics for 47 years. And even if you watch the RNC, you heard that phrase, Joe Biden's had 50 years, or Joe Biden's been in there for 47 years. You've heard that over and over and over and over again. And it's really hard to dispute that if you've been in office for 47 years, you haven't been able to change things. Perhaps you're part of the problem.
So I think that he'll probably act in a way that is beneath the dignity of the presidency. He does that every day. But I think he will also belittle what the debates are supposed to be about.
Okay, so you go back to this indignified, like, how, no matter how you feel about Donald Trump, he is the president. Like, if you want to win the White House, you have to, you know, go against your actual opponent. You don't get to just be like, oh, I'm above that, therefore I'm not going to do it. First of all, Joe Biden, the highest office you've ever held is vice president. He's currently the sitting president. I'm kind of confused as to why you would think, or why Pelosi would even think that would be an acceptable thing to even say. It's just super weird that we're now saying this weeks, or, you know, 2 months, 60 days or so before the election. You're talking about not having debates. The first debate is scheduled for September 29th in Case Western in Cleveland. But the bigger issue is the reason why this thing is being delayed in the first place.
And they're not to be about the skullduggery on the part of somebody who has no respect for the office he holds. I don't think that he should dignify that conversation with Donald Trump. You ask them any questions, both of them, just take their own stage for any number of conversations about any subjects. Hold them accountable. What are they proposing? What is their vision?
Take their own stage. What she means is send them pre-recorded questions or send them questions ahead of time and let them send recorded answers. That ain't gonna fly. All right, we're talking about running the country. We're talking about being a leader. Again, going back to being a leader. Joe Biden leads from the sidelines. You know, it's very easy to criticize. It's very hard to make decisions in the moment. And if you go back, it's going to start happening now. They're going to start uncovering. Well, not uncovering. Trump's been running the ads the whole time on the internet. But Trump has some crazy ads on the internet compared to what I'm sure what he's putting on TV. But when you see, you know, Pelosi down in Chinatown tell everybody to come on down because it's okay. When you see Joe Biden's initial slow response, I mean, everyone had a slow response to the pandemic. No one really knew what it was going to be. But it starts to become, oh, that's right. My guy's not that good either. I mean, maybe he's got better character. Maybe he's a nicer guy. But as far as giving you a reason to vote for him over this guy, still comes back to I just don't want Trump around, or, you know, or I actually want Trump. It's not a Joe Biden. It's not pro Joe Biden.
What is their knowledge? How are we going to get it done? How do they connect with the American people? Let that be a conversation with the American people, not an exercise in skullduggery.
That's fear, people. That's fear. And I'm starting to wonder, do they even want to win this election? I'm not 100% sure. So obviously she says she doesn't think there should be debates. First debate is scheduled for September 29th. But, you know, interestingly, because of the pandemic, we have mail-in ballots going out as early as September 4th. Now, I don't know if you guys caught this, but I'm not sure when it was actually filed, but the Trump organization that runs the presidential debates on Thursday denied a request from President Trump and his campaign to move the debates earlier in account of the mail-in voting. So this is dated August 6th. Prior to August 6th, the Trump administration filed some paperwork to get the debates moved up, obviously because of mail-in voting. You don't want people voting when they haven't seen the candidates face-to-face. And this was, I guess, filed by Rudy Giuliani. I'm going to go ahead and give you the response that they received. In your letter, you expressed the Trump campaign's interest in a presidential debate in early September. You state that such a debate is necessary because some states begin sending out mail-in ballots before the first scheduled debate, CPD wrote. There is a difference between ballots being issued by a state and those that have been cast by voters who are under no compulsion to return their ballots before the debates. In 2016, the debate was similar. Only 0.0069% of the electorate had voted at the time of the first debate. While more people will likely vote by mail in 2020, the debate scheduled has been and will be highly publicized. Any voter who wishes to watch one or more debates before voting will be well aware of that opportunity, the group added. The group also said that if both Trump and Biden wish to add a debate to the schedule, they would consider the request. So just keep that in mind. If you are wondering why there hasn't been a new debate added, clearly there hasn't been a conversation between the Biden and Trump camps to agree that there should be a new debate added. Now, who does that serve to benefit? Obviously, Donald Trump. Is Biden going to fare well in a 2-hour conversation with Donald Trump? Probably not. But the fact that the mail-in ballots are going out prior to the actual first debate, again, listen, I don't care who wants to win this election. You give your boy a job. I got you. I can fix up all you guys' arguments. I mean, why isn't this the conversation? Why isn't Donald Trump saying this? Why isn't Donald Trump just saying Joe Biden's ducking me? If you're such a great candidate, why don't you face me? Any day. I'll face you any day between September 1st and September 29th. And it's not happened. There's no challenge hasn't been accepted. They continue, or Trump's continued to be divisive. I mean, I really think if he just got that together, if he would just stop framing his whole, his conversations about rioters and the issues behind that as violence and it's this law and order thing he's got going on. Like if he would just, act like a human, treat people like humans and just be like, look, we hope things can get better. Say what Joe Biden says. Because Joe Biden ain't gonna do nothing either. But just say what Joe Biden says and then just don't be a jerk and you'll probably be okay. But he just can't help it, man. Trump just can't back down. He will not concede that, this is what he got here on and he's not switching it up. But that's a lot of states. The first ballot of the 2020 general election will be on their way by voters in early September. North Carolina, battleground state, begins mailing absentee ballots to registered voters who requested them on September 4th, 60 days before the November 3rd election. Pennsylvania, Kentucky will send out requested mail-in ballots as early as September 14th, with several other key states following the same week, according to the National Committee of State Legislatures. Yeah. So it was kind of hard to find out. I went to Ballotopedia, and it looks like there's a lot of places that actually have ballots coming out like super early because of this, it's all automatic. And this is a list of all the states that have automatic mail-in ballots going out. And I talked about Don Lemon coming out and saying that there's clearly an indication that the polls are starting to swing back in favor of Donald Trump, and that is why Joe Biden needs to start addressing the riots and the protests and things like that, in different, or at least the riots specifically. But again, I see new national polls. There's two different polls. Joe Biden's up 13%. Now, people will respond, oh, those polls aren't accurate, right? They're not accurate. But what I think is really happening is that the Democrats are really just pushing they're trying to frighten everyone. They're trying to scare everyone into mail-in voting even earlier because they don't want there to even be a chance that Donald Trump could actually come back, because I think it's still I think it's still a tight race, but I think by September 29th, it's going to be even tighter. Again, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take, 2 days of significant action, either on the ground, something regarding one of these protests, something regarding some type of incident that hits the news. I don't think foreign interference is going to be a real issue. A possible major gaffe by Joe Biden. Like, I think, because I don't think we're going to have any policy that's going to change in the next 60 days. Joe Biden's just trying to land this thing. And the best way he can think to do it, the best way his team can think to do it, is to simply push everyone to vote early by frightening them into believing that the numbers are starting to tip in the other direction, rather than answering the question as to why that would even be. Why isn't the question being asked? Why aren't people saying, okay, well, maybe Joe Biden does need to speak because clearly he needs to state his case. No, but Pelosi comes out and says that wouldn't be, I'm not going to dignify the president with a conversation. It's ridiculous. If you think that he's gaining ground, maybe he's doing something right, or maybe he's doing something the American people agree with, or maybe Joe Biden isn't doing that great of a job of selling himself as the next president. Either way, both Donald Trump and Joe Biden need to agree to an earlier debate. Now, if you want to see that conversation, maybe the American people should be pushing that to happen, because this thing is still very close. But we'll see. So I would love to hear what you guys think. Go ahead and put your comments in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next one.